Welcome to the channel, and today we'll be going back a few years to Eminem's verse on B.O.B.'s Airplanes Part 2. Airplanes originally released as B.O.B. featuring Hayley Williams of Paramore in April 2010, and the song peaked at number 2 in the United States. The part 2 of the song featured a faster beat and additional featured vocals by Eminem, and this version of the song received a Grammy nomination for Best Pop Collaboration with Vocals. As we dive in and dissect Eminem's verse, remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel and turn on notifications. Eminem starts his verse with this.
Alright, let's pretend Marshall Mathers never picked up a pen.
In this case, picked up a pen is referring to if Eminem never started to write raps. If Eminem, for instance, chose to be a comic book artist instead of a rapper, well, for starters, MGK as we know him today wouldn't exist. Pretty much every successful white rapper active in the industry will probably not exist, as Eminem broke the race barrier and showed the world that skin color doesn't define rap skills. So no Yellow Wolf, NF, MGK, G-Eazy, Mac Miller, and so on, since all these rappers were inspired to write raps by Eminem. In addition, Eminem has been responsible for the widespread of hip-hop music around the world, so the genre wouldn't have been as relevant outside the United States if it wasn't for Eminem. Eminem in his younger years was probably viewed as a lazy, dull kid, but this was the case of if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid.
Pretend he procrastinated, had no motivation.
At school, he was certainly not the brightest kid and even dropped out. Dropouts are often considered lazy and unambitious, but school just wasn't Eminem's forte. Now, when it comes to rap, Eminem has incredible work ethics and has been described as a workaholic when making music in the studio. It's quite funny that MGK believed reading the dictionary to develop your vocabulary is a diss, when in fact Eminem's vocabulary is a key source of his success. And after Rap Devil, MGK showed the world how his poor work ethics limited his career potential. This is for those that think Eminem is only successful because he's white. MGK's whiteness hasn't helped him sell up to 100K first week in his entire career. Before Eminem blew up in the hip-hop scene, he had lots of excuses to give up, and to be honest, people who knew him personally wouldn't hold it against him if he didn't blow.
Pretend he just made excuses that were so paper thin they could blow away with the wind.
A solid excuse was the fact that his skin color didn't open doors for him when he was coming up, but Eminem still categorizes this excuse as paper thin. An excuse that's considered weak is described as thin, and Eminem uses a paper plane as a metaphor to describe how the excuses he could have made to stop pursuing his career in hip-hop were weak. Like we just discussed, Eminem had a couple of excuses he could have made to give up on his hip-hop career, and here's one.
Marshall, you're never gonna make it. Makes no sense to play the game. There ain't no way that you win.
First of all, at that time in hip-hop, the game was rigged against someone like Eminem, and if not because of Eminem's strong will and Proof's influence on Eminem, Eminem wouldn't have made it in hip-hop. Eminem now describes this as a paper-thin excuse, but in reality, at that time it wasn't. But this just shows you how the mind has to develop to see hope even in an uphill battle situation. In addition, to play a game at an arcade, you have to insert sense, and notice how Eminem says makes no sense, like makes no sense, to play the game because you actually lose your sense to play. The next bar is a reference to Eminem's childhood.
Pretend he even had a friend to say was his friend, and it wasn't time to move and schools weren't changing again. Eminem
reps Detroit, but many don't know that he was actually born in St. Joseph, Missouri. When he was a child, his mother was constantly moving, and because of this, he didn't have enough time to make friends in the city before they had to move again until they finally settled at the east side of Detroit. This was what finally changed everything, as here he met the likes of Proof that played a huge role in the life of Eminem and helped give the world who we now know as the GOAT. We did a breakdown on Eminem's legacy that summarized the rise of Eminem from a young age to the established star he is today, and if you missed that, click the link that pops up at the top right corner now, and in the next bars also hints at the issues he had growing up.
He wasn't socially awkward and just strange as a kid.
Eminem as a young kid was shy and awkward, and to be honest, all these experiences contributed to making and molding the artist that we know today. If he wasn't socially awkward, he probably would have been spending time hanging out with the cool kids and chasing after girls his age rather than thinking of how he could write raps and gain confidence. Eminem even expands on this in the next bar.
He had a father and his mother wasn't crazy as shit.
Eminem's father abandoned him and his mother when he was just a child, and experiences like this definitely contributed to fuel his talent as a rapper. Eminem has made several songs about how his mother wasn't the ideal parent he needed growing up, and even released a diss song directed at her in the early days of his career that had the entire world shocked. Cleaning out my closet was one of the most shocking moments in music history, and no one believed a rapper could make a song like that directed at his mom. So imagine if he had a great childhood with two parents. Cleaning Out My Closet wouldn't exist today, and most of his songs fueled by anger and rage wouldn't exist today, and let's be honest, Eminem wouldn't exist as we know him today without these struggles. Eminem builds on this by stating how his vision of the future also contributed to his success.
And he never dreamed he could rip stadiums and just lazy as shit.
Eminem is popular across the globe at the moment and has had the largest crowds in hip-hop attend his shows in continents where English isn't even the dominant language, and the vision to do this as a kid motivated him. Talent isn't enough to succeed in virtually any field, and if you're lazy, you'll never reach your full potential. If you need proof of wasted talent because of laziness, look no farther than the career of Joe Biden. In the next bar, Eminem pretty much implies how you have to take every little opportunity to develop your skills regardless of how lame it might seem.
Fuck a talent show in the gymnasium, bitch.
The talent show Eminem is talking about here is the one he attended that made him meet with Proof, and we all know that if Eminem never met Proof, he'd probably still be on welfare at the moment. A talent show in a school's gym will be considered quite lame, but this lame activity is what led him to meet Proof, and this relationship was key to the success Eminem has achieved so far. Since Eminem wasn't the best at school, for instance, you can't imagine how many times he heard this from schoolmates, friends, and even his mother.
You want him out the shit, quit daydreaming, kid. You need to get your cranium checked. You're thinking like an alien, it just ain't realistic.
Apart from parents that start grooming their kids to be entertainers in the future, telling your parents that you want to become a rapper is not something they will take as a positive future ambition. So of course, most rappers today at a point in their life were told that they wouldn't amount to anything in their life. Even teachers in high schools are known to say such nonsense to students that do not perform excellently at schoolwork. But statements like this made someone like Eminem to put in more work into succeeding since he dropped out of school because of this.
Now pretend pain just make him angry with this shit.
Rather than backing down and rethinking his life decisions when he was criticized, Eminem used these criticisms as fuel for his music career, and this is how the Slim Shady persona that led to Eminem finally getting noticed by Jimmy and Dre was born because of anger and rage. Eminem hit rock bottom just before he attended the event that will change his life. He had no utilities and even had to break into his home, slept on the floor, and the next day had to go to LA.
And his alarm went off to wake him, but he didn't make it to the Rap Olympics. Slept through his plane and he missed it.
The Rap Olympics is what got an Interscope intern to notice Eminem and pass on his demo to Jimmy. Eminem came in as second at the event, and Eminem has referred to this as the battle he lost in the beginning in songs like Almost Famous, but coming in second didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. This is a case of lost the battle but won the war, so imagine if Eminem was too lazy to get up in the morning to attend this competition.
He's gonna have a hard time explaining to Hayley and Laney.
Laney in that bar is Eminem's adopted daughter, who was the daughter of Dawn Scott, the twin sister of Kim Scott, Eminem's ex-wife. Kim's twin sister Dawn Scott died in 2016 of heroin overdose, and in that bar, Eminem is suggesting that he'd have a hard time explaining to his daughters why they were poor and lived on food stamps if he didn't make it. Eminem then ends the verse with an advice for people struggling to make it out in their life.
He never risked shit, he hoped and he wished it, but it didn't fall in his lap, so he ain't even here, he pretends that.
Even people from rich families can end up poor if they don't put in work, and Eminem here is suggesting that he had to make sacrifices and risk a lot to make it. He didn't just sit around wishing things will get better. Notice how Eminem ends it with, "So he ain't even here," to signify that if he didn't put in all that work, he wouldn't even be on this song rapping right now. It'd probably be some loser working dead-end jobs, or it'd probably be dead. And the end we know today wouldn't exist if he missed the scenarios that he mentioned in this verse, including something as cheesy as a talent show in a school's gym. Those who say Eminem doesn't have content in his music can keep living in La La Land, but we know better, and if you'd like to support the channel, consider donating to our PayPal at the link in the description. Thanks for watching, leave your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't.